Hi, beautiful friends. So, we're back still on the discussion of brain fog, and I just want to throw it out there. So, I was working at a retail job that I just keep on the side the other morning, and I was working with a 20 something year old, and she is looking at me in the stock room, and she's like, the yeah, on the so that thing that like this like, oh, I can't remember. And I looked at her and I said, I'm glad it's not just us 40-year-olds. But in that, I came to some realizations, things I have been thinking about in the back of my head for a while that just kept creeping in. So we're going to go and dive into that today as part of our study. So one of the greatest misconceptions about brain fog is that it is purely a hormonal problem. Hormones certainly play a role, but they're only one piece of the puzzle, like a lot of these other things. The brain is not separate from the rest of the body, and it is deeply influenced by inflammation, stress, sleep, nutrition, your movement, and your recovery. In many ways, the fog we experience in our mind may be reflecting what is happening throughout our entire body. Even some medications can mess with that. So, research is now understanding that chronic inflammation can affect the brain's ability to function normally and optimally. And when inflammation levels rise via the food we eat or environmental factors, women may notice more symptoms such as fatigue, difficulty concentrating, forgetfulness, slower processing speed, where you're just like, just give me a minute to think about everything you just dumped into my brain. Low motivation, increased pain because you don't have the ability to deal with one more thing, and mood changes. In other words, inflammation just doesn't affect our joints. So the one reason why many women describe feeling as though their minds are moving through the mud, and they aren't imagining it. It is true. Our bodies may be signaling us that we need support, recovery, and restoration. It's one reason women, if I can learn where I'm at in my notes. So the best news, the most encouraging news out of all of this, because sometimes we can't change our environmental factors or the food that we're eating in the moment or whatever. We can't change that because that just is what it is. But the best news is that some of the most effective ways to reduce inflammation is also some of the simplest. Omega-3 fatty acids, they support the brain health and regulate inflammation. Whole foods nourish the body through vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and fiber. If you've seen the commercial of the little skinny guy sitting on the big guy's shoulders, and it's the vitamins and the minerals, and he's like, the minerals do actually do all the work for the vitamins, and so the vitamins can do their job better, and the vitamins like, no, it's all me. And then he's like, no, it's not, it's the minerals are just as important. So movement, circulation supports insulin resistance, gets the blood flowing to the brain, right? Helps all of that. Strength training preserves the muscle and helps regulate our metabolism, so then we're able to flush our system better from all that inflammation. Quality of sleep gives our brain an opportunity to rest and repair and clear out the waste products accumulated throughout the day. So think of it as your brain's way of pooping it all out. It gets to file away. Think of the movie In and Out. It gets to file away what's important, and it gets to trash what is not. Stress reduction. Sometimes it's able to do it, sometimes you can't, but it helps with helps quiet inflammatory pathways that are activated through our chronic fight or flight states. None of these habits are flashy, yet they are all powerful. What often surprises women in midlife is that recovery becomes just as important as productivity. For years, we were told to work more, serve more, give more, carry more, multitask more. Somewhere along the way, Exhaustion became a badge of honor. I talked to a lot of women, and I actually had to retrain my brain. Where we're like, "Oh, how are you doing today?" "Oh, I'm tired, or I'm busy, and I'm running around, and all the." Yeah, we tote being busy and being exhausted as a badge of honor. It's not. But the body was never designed to thrive on constant output. For decades, we've been training ourselves to split our attention in 100 different directions at once. It's answering texts, talking to kids, watching television while we're trying to cook and think about tomorrow's schedule, and talking to a friend while we're doing a grocery list. The mind rarely gets to be fully present. A lot of times when I'm talking to someone, if it's not in my car, which is multitasking too, because I'm driving, but it is, I will just walk. I will just walk. Now I'm not focusing on any one thing. I'm not paying attention to any one thing. I just make figure eights throughout my home or outside, and I just walk so I can kind of more focus on them. When perimenopause arrives, suddenly our brain seems less willing to cooperate with all the overloaded stress. It just can't do it anymore. And part of the frustration is the brain is asking us to do something that we've forgotten to do. Slow down, pay attention, be present. Multitasking often creates the illusion of productivity while actually increasing the mental fatigue. You're making too many decisions too quickly and you don't have time to focus on them. And actually, they just put out a study recently showing that people who single focused for 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time on one thing and then gave themselves 5 to 10 minutes to transition to another thing were actually more productive than those trying to do multiple things at once. So, every time the brain switches tasks, it expends energy. So give it time to complete a task or get through a task or come to a good pause point of a task. Then give yourself time to get into the next task. Constantly switching that, doing that flip, all the time can leave us feeling scattered, overwhelmed, and forgetful. Think of a light switch. If you keep flicking it all the time, guess what? It's going to wear out. It's going to stop working. It's going to break. But we keep telling our brain to do that. Just switch so quickly. Sometimes the most important strategy and effective one for improving focus is not doing more, doing less. Give yourself permission to do less. Instead of trying to remember 10 things at once, focus on one thing directly in front of you. Now, if there are multiple things I need to do and focus on throughout my day, and I don't want to forget that brain fog, what was the other thing I need to do? I will make a list real quick, just jot it down. And then I go in and focus on the one thing, and then I can move on to the next. So when you're having a conversation, be in the conversation. When you're reading scripture, be in the scripture. When you're doing laundry, do the laundry. Notice how the textures feel on your hands, how they smell. When you're resting, truly rest. And presence is a form of stewardship. It truly is. The more we engage in what is in front of us, the less energy we spend chasing what is behind or worrying about what's ahead. Jesus understood this principle long before neuroscience explained it. He consistently called people back to the present moment. Remember? No, don't worry about tomorrow. Focus on today. Don't worry about what Martha's doing. Focus on what Mary's doing. Don't worry about what Mary's doing. Focus on what Martha's doing. Like, constantly bringing us back to the present. And tomorrow's worries, yesterday's mistakes, today's grace, today's provision, today's assignment. Perhaps one of the hidden gifts of midlife is just being able to be present. The body begins teaching us lessons the soul desperately needs. lessons about limits, slowing down, paying attention, and also how important recovery is. Because if you don't take the time to recover, your body will make you recover, and you'll get sick, you'll have no energy, and you'll be in bed for days because you have no energy. You might think it's depression or something else. Honestly, it's your body saying, I'm done and I just need a moment. So I'm going to make you take a moment for me. That's what our body's telling us. That's what our brain is telling us. So in a culture that celebrates the hustle, God invites his daughters to something radically different. We are rebels and we are different. Rest. Not because we've earned it. Get that? Not because you earned it. You can't earn rest. You need rest. God rested on the seventh day. And not because everything's finished. Because let me tell you, those dishes, they're still in the sink. It's not finished. But because we're human. Jesus extended the same invitation today that he offered centuries ago. Come to me, all who have labored and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. He does not promise more productivity. He promises rest. For the woman struggling to remember where she put her keys, or mind feels crowded, or just exhausted from carrying everyone else's needs, the invitation remains. Come, sit, breathe, recover. You don't have to prove your worth through constant activity. Your brain, your body, and your soul are all designed with rhythms of work and restoration. And sometimes the most productive thing you can do is to rest long enough to remember who you belong to. So, why rest feels so hard? Because we are told to do more. We look at Proverbs 31. Oh, she's doing all these things. It didn't say she did them all at once. Maybe it took her decades to do all those things. Focus on one thing. There's a quote, and you've heard me quote it before, from MASH, where Winchester, it was my word of the year last year, was I do one thing at a time, I do it very well, and then I move on. One thing was my word last year, trying to focus on one thing at a time. So when I was with clients, I wasn't on my phone doing stuff. When I was, looking up things for them. Like, I would take notes and I would look it up later and send them the information. Because a lot of things come up in conversation when we're working out that I need to focus on. Or that I want to research for them or get them information on. When I was with my kids, it was time with them. I wasn't on my phone. When I was on the phone with my friend, like, everything was one thing. So, my challenge for you in the next 48 hours, try to focus on one thing at a time. And if your brain is racing and you are constantly being pulled in a different direction, just carry around a little notebook. I have pads of paper everywhere in my house. And, okay, like this, I thought about so this on the grocery list. Okay, then I thought about this randomly, and then I thought about this randomly, and then I thought about this randomly. And then try to go back and just focus on one thing at a time. When we're doing meditation, tell my clients, like, if 1,000 thoughts start entering your mind, just let it go. Don't focus on any one of them. Just let them flitter away. They'll come back eventually. Let them flitter away. Having things like a consistent grocery list going on. Having a consistent business list going on. To where when something pops in my brain and I don't have time to focus on it in that moment, I put it on that list. So then when I have time and I'm in that mindset and I'm in that section of my brain, instead of switching back and forth, I can focus on that. I can look at that. It doesn't always work. But it does, and if doom scrolling is kind of a release for you, schedule that time in. Set a timer. I'm going to doom scroll for this much time. And then I'm going to get up and go do something. Get up and go for a walk. Go get on my walking pad. Go lift some weights. Or go be with my kids. So that is my advice for today. Do one thing at a time. Do it very well, or at least the best of your ability. And then move on. Pay attention, folks. I don't want to have to show you twice. That's the other part of the quote. I love Charles. I hope you guys have a great day. Know that Jesus is always there and he calls us to rest. So take some time and rest.